This is the Park Shore Coin and Collectibles Hour with your host, Scott Heiligman, on Fox Sports Radio. Today we will discuss all the latest information and hottest trends on everything from coins and sterling silver to baseball cards, vintage toys, and a whole lot more. Find information about the show at www.parkshorecoin.com. That's www.parkshorecoin.com. And now, your host, Scott Heiligman.
Welcome to this week's Park Shore Coins and Collectibles Hour. We're in the studio with Park Shore Coins and Collectibles owner, Scott Heiligman. Hey, Scott.
Hey, Mark.
Happy Saturday
Happy
here in
Saturday.
South Florida.
Yes.
Man, oh man, we're living in paradise. We love
Good
getting in
place
the
to be.
studio. Oh yes, you go outside, it's beautiful. You come inside, we got these beautiful
Starting
studios.
to feel like home, isn't it? And
Yeah.
the air conditioner.
Yeah, it's so muggy down here right now. If you're listening wherever you are, if you're outside of the state, it is warm in Florida.
Oh, it really is. yeah.
Always warm in Florida, but
So warm everywhere though in the summertime. That's what I tell people. It's, you know what I mean? Up north, it's still very humid too in the summertime.
it is.
It's
you look at
80%, 85.
Look at the weather.
And yeah.
Weather map: 103 in Denver,
Yeah.
or
It's more-
you know,
exactly.
in Montana.
We never get
102.
that. We get
No,
like 91, 92. It has been getting a little warmer, but usually 89, 90, 91.
usually very
We
comfortable.
don't get those 95s, 100s much.
You know, before we came on the air, you and I were talking about. Well, let me say this: if it's hot in Florida, the collectibles market's hot. Your business is hot right now. There's a lot to talk
Oh,
about.
there's a lot going on.
One of the things we were talking about just before we came on the air with the show is about your new offices.
Oh, yeah, we expanded
yeah.
into a much larger facility.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's still right there on Immokalee and 75,
Yeah.
stone's throw from the old office.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're there 6 days a week. And
What a beautiful place.
yep.
too.
And we have, like I said, the Auctioneer's license now.
Yes.
So a lot of people who aren't ready to sell, they want to put things in an auction, see how it goes that way, because we don't know how to evaluate the item.
Right.
A lot of times we can just put it in the auction. Now then they can follow it, they can see it,
Right.
and we reach a worldwide audience of
Yes.
buyers with this. We've contracted with a large auction house, and so yeah, it'll be good. It's on proxy bid, but it'll be on our website. And
That's a new aspect of the
yeah, so
business.
just bring it on in, and
Mhm.
it's better to build a business that way too.
Right.
Because then I can deal with the retail sales of it. And yeah.
Well, to those of you that are listening that are new to the show, we're all about the collectibles world here in South Florida, which there are a lot of collectibles. And if you listened before,
All different types.
we talk about everything from coins and sports memorabilia to musical instruments to toys to you name it. If it has value, Scott can find a buyer for it.
Yep.
He's got
I'll
them out
find a
there.
market for it.
There's a market.
There
Where There's a
is.
market. There's ready, willing,
Yep.
and able buyers.
Follow them closely. Stay up to
Yeah.
it on a daily basis. These things are changing
Yeah.
all the time. And there's, like we get into, there's a lot of different markets. There's sports memorabilia.
Mm-hmm.
There's gold. There's silver. There's sterling silver.
Yeah.
There's this, that, toys,
You
jewelry.
you do an awful lot of business in the gold and silver market.
A lot of jewelry is the big one. A lot of sterling silverware
Yeah.
and coins. And there's some good sports memorabilia down here as well. But there's also a lot of counterfeits out
Oh,
there.
yeah.
That's why I say make sure it's always authenticated. Bring it on in. We can do the process of authentication, send it in for you.
Right.
We know who to send it to, and see what happens.
And just because you've got a COA,
Yeah,
doesn't
just
mean
because-
that
yeah,
it's
exactly.
legit.
I mean, we've had several items come in from the same individual. I've told the story before from the Mickey Mantle Foundation. He had like 20 items. 19 of them were different players, and they were all real. And then the one Mickey Mantle ball turned out not to be real. And he, thought he was handed to him personally by Mickey Mantle's son. So, I mean,
Wow.
you'd think, sometimes he doesn't even know.
Yeah.
He might just be handing it out, thought his father signed it. Looks identical. Wasn't the case.
There's a lot of
Right. Or who
good
knows, even if
fortunes.
if that story was even true. But that's the story I was told.
Right.
And I never know. That's
Right.
the thing. I have to read through that kind of thing and sift through it. But
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff's counterfeit.
Well, whether it's sports memorabilia,
If it's not
or-
already authenticated
Yeah.
and it's just a random third, I'd be worried about it.
Right. Well, you
Beckett's
have
a
to,
good one, and PSA.
Yeah.
And JSA is the one that's coming into the market. It's big too, but in the 90s, 2000s, where a lot of our collectors collected in the 2000s, in the 90s, Beckett and PSA were the big two.
Right. And you try to limit your exposure to the bad stuff, to the counterfeits.
Well, everyone
Because it
wants
costs
to.
you-
You just
costs
have
you
to
money,
send it
too.
in. Yeah, for sure.
So you have to be careful with it.
Well, we're only going to resell real stuff, so
Yeah.
that's the first step. And
Yeah.
once we figure out if it's real, we'll be happy to find the market and
Yeah.
get top dollar for you.
Yeah.
That's just kind of part of the process. And sometimes things aren't worth authenticating. You know, you can have a lot of these Hall of Famer baseball players, like Brooks Robinson, for instance, on a baseball, and the ball's worth $50 to $100. But you know, after shipping and sending it in, you're into the ball now for 50, $60.
Mhm.
You know, and it's still only going to sell for 50, 60, 75.
Kind
So
of a
it's
wash.
rough, you know, it's really a fine, delicate thing. And people do it all the time. I get items in all the time authenticated, whether they're coins, baseball cards, basketball cards. That really had no business being authenticated in the first place.
Yeah.
People just got excited and they wanted to send it in. And it's cool having an authenticated card, though, in a certified, you know, plastic sleeve or whatever
Yeah.
the thing may be. And, you know, we'll get into that. But doesn't always mean that it's worth it.
It doesn't always mean that
No,
it's
you're
worth it.
better off just having the card raw a lot of times, or the autograph raw,
Yeah.
if you know it's real.
Yeah.
Yep.
In
You
past
know-
shows, we've talked about, if you're listening, you're welcome to bring Scott these collectibles, whether it's sports memorabilia or jewelry
Yeah.
or coins.
Stop
or
on
the
in.
silver coin. Stop in,
Yep.
see him at the new,
See
the
the
new
location,
offices. Great place.
5644 Tavilla Circle
Yes.
is the address. So it's right off of Immokalee and Strand, just like before. And parkshorecoin.com will, you know, get there
Visit
online.
that website.
Yeah, you'll find it on there.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
Call, text.
we had, speaking of calls and texts, we've got we had a call. We always like to talk about what our listeners are asking and read things on the air. Sometimes they have good questions. Sometimes they say things or they make comments that affect everyone, as far as you might be in the same boat that this listener's in, as far as wanting to sell your collectibles. We've got Patrick in Naples, and he said, last week you talked about coming to a home and viewing the estate. Can I make an appointment online?
You can make an appointment, usually not for me to come to you on a house call, you know,
Yeah.
and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm at the office from 9:30 to 5 now,
Okay.
Monday to Friday,
Right.
and Saturdays we're there 10:30 to 3. So we'll have to work it in between those hours or
Yes.
after those hours.
Yes. There's a
But
possibility.
absolutely we can do it, you know.
Possibility.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Okay. Yeah, because we've talked
Come
about
take
it.
a
and-
look at it, and a lot of these estate auctions, they're just going to go in the auction house now.
Right.
You know, we can just auction it off, and we'll see what they have.
How long is, if someone were to bring something in for the auction,
Yep.
what's the length of time that from the time well, you have to do everything, take pictures, prepare it, put it online.
I want it done in a week.
You want it done in a week?
Yeah, so you say 2 weeks.
Okay.
You know, Florida state law is you have to, by the time that auction is sold, you have to pay out by 30 days.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Has to go in escrow account within 2 days.
Right.
And you have 30 days to pay. Now, obviously, with fine jewelry and coins, you want to be more careful. Make sure the payments go through, the checks clear,
Yes.
all that kind of thing. Just because the hammer price closed on August 1st doesn't mean the auction house got paid to August 15th.
Right.
So people have to understand it's 30 days
Right.
from when you got payment or when it cleared. But yeah, we want to get it out. It takes, you know, some time to take really good pictures, but we want to, you know, the more volume we can do, then we can do something good with it. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
think,
Yeah.
just a week on there, we can do it and process it within 3-4 days.
Good.
You know,
Good.
some
Well,
of these auction houses have 5-8. Now, what becomes an issue is the shipping.
Yeah.
You know, if you're doing 800 auctions in a week,
Mhm.
that's just a lot of things to ship, and
Yeah.
we can do it. But it's just those are the numbers
to
we
be
can
done.
do. We have the items,
Right.
you know. So yeah, keep your eyes out for that and
Well, and if you're listening and you're interested in learning more
bring
about
stuff in. Yeah.
yeah, learning more about Scott's business,
Yeah.
visit that website.
Go to that website.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it will tell you a little bit about
Jewelry and
everything.
coins,
You'll learn about what's
primarily, yep,
collectible.
for sure.
Learn about what's valuable. You're going to see comments from other listeners. You're going to see comments from people that have done business with Scott. You're going to see what it's all about. Get comfortable with
It is a new experience for everyone. I
It is,
talk
isn't
about that with my customers all the time. Well, yeah, they're always just like, we never, you know, so glad there's something like this in town here.
Yeah.
Because there's not really a trading posts, you know, / an auction house where you can kind of bring it in. Because what do we always talk about? The foundation I wanted to build this on was kind of fairness and transparency.
Right.
And you can't get much more transparent than an auction,
Right.
right? So if somebody comes in and says, Scott, what's this worth? I'll say, hey, I can buy it for $100. Maybe it's worth 150. Maybe it's worth 110.
Yeah.
You know, it depends. Sometimes I have to put it in auction and find out. Sometimes, people don't realize I lose money on a lot of deals.
Right.
That's just kind of part of the thing. Not a ton, but not a ton of money on them, but I definitely lose or break even.
Yeah.
That's just part of being an aggressive buyer and being fair and wanting to build a long-term business. So if you want transparency, you say, all right, we'll throw it in the auction. It's Tuesday, Frank. And then all of a sudden Saturday, maybe by Wednesday, it's all going to be previews. So people throughout the world can preview the item, and then we just do a timed auction for 7 days, and then it ends the following Saturday. And now we'll find out. Here's the hammer price, $800.
Yeah.
Now he knows what it went for, and now Frank can follow it. He has the link. He can get involved.
Sure.
He can show it to his grandma, his friends. Hey, do you want to bid on my ring or whatever it is?
Absolutely.
So there's that. But some people just want to be done. They're moving,
Right.
and then we can buy it that way too.
Yeah.
So you have the option. Some people have so much stuff they just would rather bring in 5 items, put it in the auction, let's see what they go for, and then do it because sometimes they just don't like the notion of being a seller. It's like I said, it's a new thing for them.
Yeah.
The only other kind of thing is a pawn shop.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have never been in one of those.
And if you don't want to be in an auction, you buy it outright.
For sure.
Yeah, cash
that's
right
what
on the barrel.
It usually works out better that way on the coins.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's probably not so much on some of the other items.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
You're gonna when you don't know, and you know so much about the collectible market. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But if something that comes into you and you're not exactly sure, the owner's not exactly sure, sometimes an auction's the way to go.
Yes, I agree.
You can
Yeah.
figure out. Some guy in
It's the
California
fairest way to
or
go.
New York wants to, he knows exactly what it is and what it's worth.
We'll figure out.
Wants
We
to
can
buy it.
always find a comp
Yeah,
and let them know. But find the price. What's the fair price is a hard one.
yeah, yeah.
So,
And it doesn't matter whether you've got a small estate or a large estate. Scott will give you, an offer on it.
I'm gonna probably figure out a way. You can do one time with a reserve.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't want to be putting a lot of items on my the stuff that I'm selling that I own. Never going to be a reserve on it.
Right.
Everything I even do on eBay. I started off at $1 and let it fly.
Let it fly.
Yeah, I mean that's just what you do. I don't sit there and spend the time to try to figure out what it should starting bid be at.
Yeah.
I have it.
Yeah.
It's time to sell it.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes
Some
you can't-
items it is more it's smarter to hold like on designer jewelry to buy it now, and because sometimes it takes 3 months for somebody to come on to like an eBay to find that specific item.
Yeah.
So when I do sell it from starting $1, I usually get about 60% of the retail value of what it'll some of the people eventually resell it as a buy it now on eBay.
Okay. Wow.
And that's what people don't realize. It's a game of time. How long do you want to hold on to it?
Yeah. So if you're not in a real rush to sell an item, I mean, you're going to have people that want instantaneous money. They want cash.
Just want to get rid
If
of
you're
it.
not in a real rush and you're willing to wait,
Yeah,
put it through the process, you might optimize its value.
for sure.
So
Yeah.
that's good.
Mhm.
You know what? That
Just
is a
have
really,
the options,
That's an option. That's a great option to have.
And
let's-
it's going to be dipping into more things. I have a feeling we'll get into more household items and things of that nature too.
Yeah.
Artwork.
yeah.
Yeah,
This is good. This
It
is
is
a
good.
good addition to your business because
for sure.
your business is
I want to
thriving.
give options.
It's
to
a
the
new
customer.
element.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another listener here. Let's talk about this. Debbie H in Bonita. I'm here. I inherited a coin collection from my father. I don't want to sell it in pieces. Will you buy everything? I don't want to wait. I just need to move it.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd probably prefer it that way.
Yeah, either way, small
Yeah.
or big, it doesn't make a difference to me. So it's
People
up
don't
to her,
wanna,
really.
They don't want to piece something
Yeah,
out.
she just wants the. Yeah, I like taking the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, so no matter what it is, whether you're looking at sports memorabilia, coins, jewelry, gold, silver, sterling silver, a lot of people are coming in with flatware.
Tons of
with-
flatware.
Yeah, a lot of that.
Same old story too. It never gets used.
Yep.
You
It's in a
know, I got it
drawer.
from my grandma. The
Nobody
kids
has a
don't
dining
want
room. Yeah.
it. You know,
What are you going to do with it? And you got to be careful with
partial
those
coin-
things
and they
too.
add up too. They look at the price and usually $1,000 to $2,000 plus.
Yeah.
One was 2,200 the other month, the other day. Sorry.
Do most people that
Those-
come in that have flatware or let's say tea sets, candlesticks, do they realize that sometimes things are weighted? Do they understand that?
No, they don't understand
Okay,
it.
so you have
and
to
they don't,
explain
you
it.
have to explain it. And even when you explain it, they don't want to hear that because the reality is 90% of it's weighted.
Yeah.
And then it's just that
Yeah.
exterior tin, real thin outside layer
Yeah.
is the silver. And I've peeled it back for some customers because I know how to like take it apart and show.
Yeah.
And they're like, sure. And it is the thinnest gauge, whatever they get.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 gauge probably.
You've told our listeners before. You said,
No,
look,
100 gauge.
not spoons and forks are one thing. Knives are another thing.
Knives are, and weighted is a whole other
Candles,
thing.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
get salt and pepper shakers. They're
Right.
weighted. Candlesticks are weighted.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's cement or sand that's in
Cement and a big metal pole on a
Milk
candle
pole.
holder to
Yeah.
keep a lot of weight.
But you're still interested,
But
and you'll
they're
figure
they're
out a
great.
way.
They're still worth 10, 15 bucks.
Sure, sure.
There's usually half an ounce on there.
Are you finding that people bringing in sets? You know, like
Mixed
of-
sets, not complete sets, but and a lot of times with the sets they have the hallmarks on them, so the family's initials.
Yeah,
So that really makes it where there's going to be no premium to be able to
right.
resell
It's
them.
strictly
Some
weight.
of the sets we do try to be able to resell on the secondary market, but when I tell you 99.9%, even some of the higher end names don't sell for much more than the
Right,
physical silver is what's in demand.
right.
Not the silverware. And I try to use the analogy with my customers. I'm like, you can go get a beautiful set today at Target for $99, a functioning silverware set,
Right.
beautiful.
Not
Stainless
sterling,
and
right.
no, just sterling.
stainless,
So that's the reality of it. That's what
Yeah.
that's what sterling. That's what your silverware set worth. Yours worth a bunch because it's made out of silver.
Right.
It's
the-
not because this one's way nicer. The one at Target, brand new.
Yeah.
This one's raggedy and you have to polish it.
Yeah.
It's not because it's a silverware set.
Right.
It's because
the
it's
value
silver.
of the silver.
Yeah, it's the precious metal.
Well, and
It's
people
a
have to
commodity.
realize
It
it's a
is what
commodity.
it is. It's cash.
It's cash.
And that's just kind of, we try to, Park Shore Coin and Jewelry, try to turn it into cash and
Absolutely.
liquidate, right?
Well, and people have to realize one of the reasons that silver is where it is now is because of the demand.
Yeah, high demand.
Yeah,
It's
the
in a
high
lot of
demand.
manufacturing.
A lot.
And as the government keeps pushing these, electric vehicles and solar, I don't know if people know, solar panels, each one has about 20 grams, about over half an ounce of silver
Right.
in one panel.
Right.
So high demand in the manufacturing sector, computer chips. They all have, it's the best conductor of electricity they've found yet.
Well, and if
And
America,
all precious metals, gold, they're finding iridium,
Yeah.
all these, that's what makes them valuable, and these microchips.
You think about it, you're in the precious metals business.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
If we get to the point where America is actually manufacturing the majority of those solar panels that we're heading toward, that means that there's going to be an even bigger demand for American silver. Not all of it's going to be mined. Some of it's going to be recycled silver.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to come through dealers like yourself
Absolutely.
that buy,
Yep.
weight, and send it on.
Scrap it.
And scrap it and send it on. And that's going to be part of the business. That's the future of America.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to do away with silver. They're going to do away with sterling silver. And speaking of sterling silver, it's a great hedging against inflation.
Yeah.
You can.
It's a nice savings account. You're never going to get rich on it,
Yeah.
but it's nice to have it put away. And it is a hedge. So they say anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it has gone from $14 an ounce, silver has, to 20. This is pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
To $20, when as high as 30
Right.
during the pandemic, doubled, but it never got to the all-time highs in the 50s.
Yeah. Well, they're talking about it someday being
so
up
I think
there
something's
again.
going to pop.
Yeah.
But how
What do you think?
that spot price number though, it's not real indicative to the physical market of.
How is that
you
so?
know. Well, it's just kind of traded on futures
Yeah.
prices. Yeah, and it's like banks trading it on paper. They don't actually take physical possession of the 10 tons of silver or gold.
Yeah.
They just order it at Deutsche Bank.
And is it stored?
It's just on paper in 30 days, stored. And supposedly, that's why they call it on paper, 30-day contract, 60-day contract.
Right.
And then they renew after 60 days instead of, so they say it's okay, it's to take physical possession in 30 days. And then 29 days comes out, hey, we want to just extend that
Right.
30 more days. And they never take, so that number just keeps kicked down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So that's, yeah. And then, like I said, gold in the 30s, we'll have to do a little more research. They made it illegal to own. They then reevaluated the price per ounce. They raised it.
Yeah.
So they can do that too. You know what I mean?
Manipulation. It's just
Yeah,
amazing,
it is what it
isn't
is. But it's a commodity that you can't complain about it because it's like there's a price that you can buy and sell at today as much as you want.
Yeah.
So, and that's what the price is. Now, what you think of it, well, I like having some in my possession,
Sure.
physical.
Sure.
It's used for, a rainy day kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I said, you're not going to get rich. If you really are looking to put money away in a retirement, do the S&P 500.
Right.
It's going to outperform silver and gold any day.
Yeah.
But this is kind of more of a different alternative way of investing. Here, we're going to teach you how to do it properly
Yeah.
because every portfolio should have it,
Yes.
Just
Yes.
like having a hurricane fund
Yes.
or for a broken car down.
Yeah. What if
You know,
everything? What if?
You can't
What
trade if credit cards go down and banks go down. You're going to have to, and the power grids go down. Maybe,
you have to trade?
you got to have
barter.
something. And
You
what if
gotta
they
have some
say,
silver or
yeah,
gold.
something.
Yeah. Well, even if you watch
Or
television
dollars. What if
listen,
you couldn't get to the ATMs? They're
Sure.
down.
Sure. People want to have something.
Or cash is obsolete. What if the U.S. government comes on and says, okay, transfer everything to this digital currency. This is what we're now using moving forward.
Yeah.
That's what I think's
Sure.
coming. Then all the dollars, you can then convert them probably at 10
Right.
cents to the dollar.
Right.
Now I'll have 82 Bitcoin or whatever coins it's called.
Yeah.
And then we're going to transact like that forever.
So, but there might be a market for raw silver.
That's
and
what it's going to
gold.
be. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Now you've
So that's
told,
why there's dollar denominations on them. That's what's so nice about the U.S. ones.
you've told people that have listened to this show in the past the good way to start collecting silver is junk silver.
Yep, constitutional coins they call it, 90%. And why is that? It's because there's very little counterfeit. All you have to do is be able to read the date on the coin.
Right.
If it's 1964 and older, and it's not a nickel or a penny, it's silver.
Mhm.
It's a dime, quarter, $half dollar, and you have some value there. So
And
that's
you've-
why that's the best, because all you have to do. And an old customer of mine taught me that. And I'm like, what got you into constitutional so much? He's like, it's just so easy to know if it's silver.
Yeah.
So all you got to do is read the date.
Yes.
He's like, I just got to put glasses on and read the date, and I know it's,
And for those of you,
because
listening, if
no one's
you're
making a
thinking-
fake 1962
Right.
Roosevelt dime.
Right.
you
Prior,
know.
prior to 1964
There's no, yeah.
is where you're going to find this silver. Now, it's not in all silver. You don't have it in nickels, right?
Nope.
Okay, but it's dimes,
But nickels
quarters.
can be collectible if you get to the Buffalo Head nickels and
Okay.
prior. Now, they did make silver in 1942 to 1945 in nickels during the
Okay.
war. They're called war nickels.
War nickels.
Yeah. So that is the exception.
So you've been buying a lot of coin collections over the years. You've seen a lot
Every
of
one of them,
constitutional
2-cent
coins.
piece. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
tons of it.
3-cent
I've seen every
pieces.
piece, I think,
Yeah.
at least once probably.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Uh,
But there's books out there. You
Here's-
should look into it. I mean, it's pretty,
study these
Pretty
things because it's
interesting,
part of
yeah.
our history.
Yeah.
There are some coins that are absolutely beautiful.
Yep.
Absolutely beautiful.
Mhm.
Whether it's silver or gold,
a lot went into them,
a lot went into them.
The
And
design and
it all comes down
the
to
engraver
rarity
Yep.
and condition.
and metal content.
Metal
So a
content.
gold one's going to be more valuable than a silver one
Okay.
for the
In a-
most part.
In most gold coins,
Uh-huh.
what's the percentage of gold in the coin?
In a U.S. coinage,
Yeah.
90%.
90%?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep. Same thing
Okay.
with silver.
Okay. Okay.
And the other 10%, I believe, is copper.
So
That's why you get that reddish tone to it.
okay. If you have a coin collection, we've talked about sports memorabilia, we've talked about, toys, we've talked about jewelry, but for this very moment, if you have a coin collection, you're thinking about divesting yourself, let Scott take a look at it. He can give you a value, and it's free evaluations.
Yeah, for
So they
sure.
can
Bring
come
it
by
on in.
and visit
Sometimes
you.
they can just text pictures. I just saved a guy a trip in from Marco Island today. He's
Yeah.
going to eventually come in and sell, but he was just going to bring in 8 coins because
Yeah.
he just inherited them and he had no idea what they were.
Right.
And he was able in 2 text messages,
Mhm.
because he didn't know if it was $25,000 in coins
Sure.
or not.
Okay, you got my curiosity. What
Yeah.
did it? What
It was
did he
just
have?
like Morgan dollars,
They're
right?
Morgan dollars.
But they look very valuable to a lot of people.
Okay.
And
Well,
so he was
sometimes
able to figure out that they're
Yeah.
worth about $30 each.
Sometimes things
over
that,
text.
that look old aren't necessarily real valuable, but they have a
Right.
nice patina to them, and sometimes they're just nice to have.
Right.
But you were able to help him,
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
the big thing.
Yeah, that was a
whether
big
they're
thing.
Morgan dollars, Peace dollars, Eisenhower dollars, pre-64s.
Eisenhower's were the 70s. They didn't make those.
They make those.
The Ikes.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
Those-
they made those, but they're not silver.
Okay.
Some people do bring them in.
Okay.
They're made out of copper, so they're heavy.
So that's
but
why
they're
they're
worth
heavy.
like $1.50.
Okay. I'm trying to
Susan
think
B.
what-
Anthony's only worth $1
No.
typically.
No,
The
there's not.
presidential one's
Yeah.
just $1 typically.
Now, there-
Sacagawea, that's the one that people all the time text and call me about because it's gold colored.
Gold colored.
It's the 2000, 2001. It's got the Native American on the back
Yeah.
holding the baby. It's called the Sacagawea.
Yep.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times. And then even more, there's one called the Wheaties Sacagawea that was in a Wheaties box. It's a proof coin. Never saw circulation. Came like in a plastic cello.
Yeah.
And everyone seems to always have that one too.
Yeah.
Even
Now there are some.
10 grand, no one has it. You'd know if you had it because it's
Right.
in a plastic thing. And it was in a Wheaties box and never got put into.
Yeah.
You didn't get it at Change Up Publix.
Right.
It'd be very tough.
Right.
Very tough.
Now there are some coins that are commemoratives that have value that have 90% gold content, and but they were made that way. They're like minted to have for as commemorative coins. They're in a box.
Yep.
They're worth their value in silver, I guess.
Yep. Yep.
Or they're worth their
Not
value
m-
whatever someone
Not
will
much
pay.
premium on most of them.
Yeah.
Few bucks over.
Now
silver
those are
price.
called rounds, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, rounds.
Coins they call them.
Yeah.
Commemorative coins.
Yeah.
The ones in the like the boxes.
Yeah.
Like the Jamestown.
Do you
and
see many of
the
those?
moon? Yeah, every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what I see almost the most of.
Are they dollars, half dollars,
Mostly dollars.
mostly dollars?
Like a Morgan size. Some are full ounces. Some are pure. Some are 90%.
Okay. If
So
they're
it is
90
complicated. I mean,
Okay.
you got each one has what's called a COA, Certificate of Authentication.
right.
It's in the box.
Right.
Usually spells it out for you.
How do you determine the difference in value in those versus, say, a Morgan dollar? You know what a Morgan dollar average cost is $30,
Yeah,
$35
by the condition. Yeah.
by the condition.
Yeah.
So if it's
Those ones are more
uncirculated,
just all going to be proof and uncirculated, so they're all just be like the silver
okay.
content.
So on the COA on those,
Mhm.
it'll say this is a proof coin, right?
Yeah, you can tell they're real shiny. You can tell
Okay.
they're usually in a capsule.
Right. So they've never been circulated, and those are worth more. You get a
few
little
bucks
bit of a
more.
premium.
Yeah, a little bit of a premium.
Okay.
But they charge you a huge premium when you buy them, and they're not worth as much of a premium because they're usually not a 1 full ounce.
Right.
And when people buy, they want ounces for some reason.
Yeah.
And these are 90%
Right.
and weigh like a Morgan. A Morgan's weigh 2/3 of an ounce.
Yeah.
So it makes it not,
Yeah,
it's
that-
just a different thing.
They were done that way, weren't they? Made that way to look that way, to feel and that heft, and you think you've got
Yeah.
a full ounce.
Yeah. Well, they
It
had
is-
used it for, they used it for, monetary purposes. Then to be strong, to make it a little stronger. 90% is pretty good.
Sure.
Yeah, the 100%, doesn't give much.
Yeah.
It's very soft.
Yeah.
That's why they mix in, alloys with the gold.
Like copper.
Otherwise, it's just too. Yeah, you got to
Right.
give it a little bit of
Yeah.
sturdiness. Otherwise, it just couldn't use it as change in dollars.
Now you and I have talked in
Get
the
too
past
banged
about
up.
the demand for silver eagles. Is it still strong?
Yeah, it's getting higher and higher, and we'll have to talk about that in the next session. Why I think that might be, and who knows? But they keep going higher and higher. We're at over 50% premiums now. Isn't that nuts?